everyone, this is Mrs. Stiliano. Today we're going to be doing a project inspired by the very famous artist Paul Klee. If we look at this picture here, this is actually our finished picture. This is something like what it will look like. It doesn't have to look just like this one. It's based on his castle picture that he made, which was in our PowerPoint that we watched. So our friend Paul Klee was very interested in geometric shapes, as you can see here. The first thing we're going to be doing is you're going to get your white crayon, so make sure you have a white crayon. Alright, make sure please that you have a ruler, and you'll need a black piece of paper. You can decide on the orientation of the paper, whether you want it vertical or horizontal. Since I already have a vertical one right here, I think the next one I'll do is horizontal. So to begin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ruler. Now we're not measuring anything with the ruler today. What we're going to be doing is just using it to make shapes. So I have my white crayon, and what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to make just some kind of rectangular shapes to begin to form my city. We're going to keep it pretty simple in the beginning, and then we're going to get more complicated. So to keep it simple, we can think about some of our beginning shapes that we're going to be using. I think I'm going to make a little taller building over here, like this. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. Please don't get hung up on making it perfect or something, because that's not going to work. Alright. So here I am. I've just laid it out. It looks like a few buildings right now, but this will actually just be one building. I'm also going to make my sun in the corner. Paul Klee was really known for always making a sun in his pictures. So you're going to want to put your sun somewhere, wherever you want. Okay, so at this point you've laid out your building. Okay, next step. I'm going to start to make some different shapes. So we have this little shape over here. I'd like to recreate that in my picture over here. I can have more shapes like that in my picture. I'm just going to kind of play with different shapes that I can make right now. So just kind of beginning here, you know what? I'm gonna turn my picture this way. Sometimes, since I'm right-handed, sometimes it's easier if I turn my picture while I'm working on it. Kind of like when you're writing, same idea. So our friend Paul Klee studied at the Bauhaus in the early 1900s. Bauhaus was a very popular and prestigious school for artists back then. It's known for its very unique looking architecture, so you can always look that up later on when you get home. It's Bauhaus, B-A-U-H-A-U-S. Okay, a good friend of his was Wassily Kandinsky, who is another artist that you might want to look at. So I'm just kind of making all different shapes all over this. Doesn't just have to be squares or something like that. You can have any shapes you like. If you would like a challenge, you can add tighter shapes, kind of like what I'm doing here. I would say that this is definitely becoming more of a challenge than this one is. So I'm adding lots of extra spaces here. So now I think I'm just going to kind of play and add some things like this into my building. And just think about the shapes that you're making. Think about if the shapes are coming out the way that you want them to. Right now I'm making a chevron pattern. That's what this is. That's a chevron pattern. Okay. So I'm just laying it out. And you know what? I think that over here, I know I keep turning my picture around. I think over here I'm going to do this. You can really, really play with how you're making your shapes. I just connected over here because this is where the bottom of that shape ends. Why not? Okay. So now let's make a few more shapes. I'm using a ruler for everything. I hope you guys noticed that I'm using a ruler, because doing this freehand, you're not going to get the accuracy that you're going to probably wish you had. So you want to make sure that you're really using a ruler. And you might find some patterns or designs that you didn't realize that you were going to make that just sort of show up. That's always a fun thing. It's happening for me right now for sure. Okay, so I've got that. Let me see here. Maybe I can add some more over here. And things don't have to connect or be perfect. The important thing is to just have some fun as you're doing this. So I started out very simple, as you saw before. Now I'm definitely getting a little more complicated. All right, I think we're ready for the next step. Okay. As you can see, I have a whole assortment of different oil pastels that are out here. At your tables, you're probably each going to have a tray. Try to treat them really, really nicely. When we color in our shapes, we're going to be coloring the same 3 ways that we always do with oil pastels, which are thick, dark, and heavy. This is a part that you're definitely going to want to take your time with. Okay? You want that accuracy of coloring inside of your shape completely, just like I'm doing here. You can think about what colors you want next to each other. You can think about if you're working on some kind of design or a pattern, okay? You can think about what colors will look nice next to each other. In this project, we will be doing some color mixing a little later on. So I'll be showing you how to do some things like that. Some of my friends in class might want to play with things like rainbows too, or just any kind of color combinations that you like. So if you want to do a rainbow, and you certainly do not have to, but if you want to, colors are red. I'm going to go to orange. And we're going to make our yellow. And we can make green. You know what? That green is not very dark, so I think I'm going to do even another green of a darker color. There we go. And maybe I'll do some light blue. This is kind of an untraditional, definitely an untraditional rainbow. Now I have a darker blue. And you know what, that's the same blue. Didn't realize it. Okay, I can actually just go right over it. That's the beauty of oil pastels, is you could do things like that. And maybe I'm going to end it with some pink. And maybe I'm going to go ahead and add a white again. Ooh, I'm thinking for me it would be really fun to reverse my rainbow that I made. So since I have pink, then I have white, then I have pink, that will be purple. Okay. Then we have our darker blue. It's just following your own pattern that you made. Okay, we have lighter blue. Next color is the darker green. We have our lighter green. And we have our yellow. We're not going to get our orange or red, but that's okay. You guys get the idea. Again, you do not have to do a rainbow. This is only if you wanted to. You could be coloring these in any color that you wish. So I hope you know that you have that kind of freedom. And you're going to be going along and just really super carefully coloring in your shapes. Now, if you know that you want to use a color in quite a few areas of your drawing, you can go ahead and use it a few times before you put it down.